After Patches made it back and everybody celebrated when she made it back to the land of Hideous, they all had a meeting. Not just canines, not just wolves and wild dogs, but other animals too. Bears. Every animal that you can think of lived there, because there was some place for every animal to live. There were penguins there. These penguins had a place in that, where they could go, and it was cold enough for them. But these animals were very adaptive to the place that they were at. This was a very unusual place. These were very unusual animals, because like penguins who like the cold weather, these penguins could actually go to a place to where it wasn't cold enough for them, and they could stay there for a certain amount of time without dying or without being out of their habitat. Just like camels, they could go to the cold weather for a certain amount of time, not for a long time, but for a certain amount of time. So they all had a meeting. Camels, penguins, all kind of animals, wolves, wild dogs, birds, everything. You name it. Polecats, tigers, lions. And then they all wanted to hear what Patches had to say. And Patches told them how good the hunter was. She was, well, his name is Mr. Man. Now remember, they're out in the woods. They're out in the wilderness. But these animals all are out in this gigantic grass field. This field is humongous, and on the outside of it, the outer rims of it, is the woods and the wilderness. But they were out in this field where there were no trees, and she was up on this high rock, and she could talk loud. Now in the story you hear them talking English, but out there they were talking animal language. Like she was talking kind of like this. This is what it translated to. His name was Mr. Man. He was a hunter, and he treated me really good. And he fed me. Some of what he fed me was terrible, but he did okay. I mean, I guess men really can't cook in the human race. If they can, then they get their own cook show. And then everybody started laughing. All of the animals started laughing. Even the cool alpha laughed. And even Manwich, the wild dog leader. And then she says, not all humans are evil. That's when one of the wise guy wolves said, I disagree. I believe all humans are evil and all they want to do is kill. If it hadn't have been anyone else other than this Mr. Man that you talked about, my dear Patches, then you would be a fur coat now. And she says, that's just my point. Not all of them are evil. Now stop interrupting me, sucker. Anyway, like I was saying, I think we should give them a chance. But I'm with all the rest of you. We should not let them in here. Because somehow there are some well-meaning humans out there, some well-meaning human beings that would never harm us. But somehow, if we let those well-meaning ones in, somehow the really evil ones would discover it through them. Even if they didn't tell them, they might follow them or something. And we just can't have that happening. Isn't it strange? Now this is me talking. Isn't it strange how even the animals on the outside can't find their way into their land of Hideous? It's weird, because usually animals can find their way just about anywhere. People, we find it hard to find some places, don't we? But in other words, this land of Hideous was only made for certain animals, and those certain animals are in there. Now, slowly but surely they go out to the outside and they test other animals to see if they can come inside. And if they don't think that that animal can, and they think that animal will be too dangerous to come in there, or wouldn't be able to handle it, it could be too, weak or, you know, whatever, couldn't adapt to it, then they wouldn't even consider it. Matter of fact, most of the animals they run across on the outside don't even make it in. You know? So, anyway, that's what Patches said. She says, we need to give them a chance. And a few of the animals, not just that wise guy, little punk wolf, who was probably 17 years old, human age, but he's probably dumb. He's not the only one that said that. Other wolves and other animals said it too. They were like, we still think all humans are evil. Even if this hunter nursed you back to health, they're still evil. You know? So, but the majority of these animals, they didn't think that all humans were evil. They knew that there was some humans that were good. That's why all of them looked at her leg and they sensed that her leg was more healthy than it had been before she left, because animals can sense these things. That's why there are some animals that kill their young because they're too sick. There's some mother animals that will either eat their young or kill their young because they're not healthy enough to survive. You know? And they sensed that in her. She was healthy. She was radiant. Patches. The wolf with the white patch on her fur on her right eye. That's why they called her that. So they almost had to excommunicate her because they thought that she was followed. They thought that when the hunter let her go, that the hunter and other people followed her onto their land of Hideous. So they were almost forced to excommunicate her. But no, they weren't having it. They were glad Patches was back. And they could not believe it. You talk about tears of joy and just happiness and celebration. My gosh.